This is gonna be the perfect example of someone falling for a celebrity because of a possible, most likely, mental illness or neurological problem. We're talking about someone who is extremely paranoid and possibly a danger to herself. She is a sneeze away from losing her house, and her family is getting tired of fighting for her. If we tally all the potential symptoms ever since she was young, she is on a clear path of not only loneliness, but self-destruction. 67-year-old Gayle was having an awful time. She just lost her mother and also her male best friend. She felt alone and in need for someone to talk to and create a bond like the ones she had with these two important people in her life. 4 years later, and apparently she found the person. Gayle thinks she is dating then 26-year-old Post Malone.
She is convinced that they're engaged.
In what world would a 27-year-old rap star do with a 70-year-old woman?
That is a great question. Love can be unpredictable sometimes, but in this case, it's weird and improbable. They have nothing in common. He's young with a lot of stamina, something Gayle doesn't have anymore. Of course she's in love with Post Malone. He's an attractive rich guy who can buy her a beautiful life, but what does she have to give him? That's another good question.
She thinks that he is making a documentary based on her life.
My grandma wears low-cut shirts, walks outside naked because she wants him to see her body.
We're getting into weird territory here. Gayle has cinder blocks on the outlets of her house because she thinks Post Malone is watching her every move because he wants to make a documentary about her life. It's not like she doesn't like it. She flipped out on her granddaughter because she was taking a shower and came out with a towel. Gayle started to scream at her, accusing her of flirting with her man. Gayle has talked to Post on the phone, but there's an interesting detail. Post Malone wants a true relationship, not someone who's just for his money, so Gayle has to earn his trust. Once she does that, he can stop speaking with a Jamaican accent, he will stop asking for money, and they can finally meet.
Money. I took my mother to the doctor and had her do a mental evaluation. Didn't find anything wrong with her. My next step would be to take her in front of a judge.
We're gonna come back to that psych evaluation later because it's not what it seems. Gayle is extremely secretive about her relationship with Post, and the family is afraid that's because of money. So if the show doesn't convince her, the family is ready for a conservatorship and solicit a power of attorney to protect her assets. Gayle was a successful woman, accomplished and looked up to by the community, but now they all see her as, well, unstable. The family is ready to escalate if Dr. Phil doesn't help.
Because on February 10th of this year, there's foreclosure notice on her house.
Right.
They're going to proceed to foreclose and sell the property right out from under her.
And she only owes 1 year on the house. That's what's so tragic.
Gayle is kissing homelessness now, but still she doesn't see that the man she allegedly loves will take away her future. Probably because she's convinced she will live in one of his mansions or that he will buy her a house of her dreams. Gayle behaves like any other romance scam victims. She meets this man and completely disassociates with her family. They all had a wonderful relationship, but now there is nothing. Apparently the granddaughters had a rough time and needed their grandma, but grandma did not care. This is where I don't get it. Can severe online manipulation triumph the love you have for a family that was there since the very beginning? I mean, in this case, Gayle is not alright at all, but overall this really makes me angry.
My grandmother is getting fraudulent checks sent to her. She's cashing them and sending him the money back.
Another one that fell for the money laundry love messages. The law doesn't care if you didn't know it was a crime, by the way. The law will punish anyone who breaks it. We have seen cases like this of women who went to prison or are about to because they become accomplices. She has given Post Malone her bank information, address, credit card information, and social security number. Oh, she also gave him her signature in an alleged inheritance document.
I have sent Post Malone around $3,000. It was just proof to his family that I was not using him for his money.
The money was for charity and he did send her presents. Post Malone bought Gayle some rings that turned her fingers green, but hey, they are still special to her. And her excuse of that is he is into games. So he's playing a game with her, giving her fake jewelry, speaking in a Jamaican accent while he's from Texas, I believe, and asking her for gift cards. What a dream guy.
He calls me his queen, I call him my king. When we do text, Post will tell me I'm coming, my queen. And I'd say, okay, I'll see you when you get here. And he never does come.
My queen. Another clear sign this is a blatant scam. And the guy has no time to meet her, not even video chat with her. That is weird because Post Malone is a gamer. He has time, you know? Gayle knows this, but I think she doesn't understand what gamer actually means. I think she's confusing words here. She thinks he's a gamer because he's playing games or pranks with her. She talks about him being into magic and the paranormal, making him magical and supernatural. She believes Post Malone is sending energy through her phone, and he's also putting malware to control where she is at every moment.
When I first started feeling this energy, it was like a sexual feeling. I get in the bathtub 3 or 4 times a day.
She'll like bathe and never let it go down the drain. She just keeps the water there.
And I tell him I'm getting tired of living in the water.
She got a nasty burn on her hip and she thinks Post Malone did this, you know, because he's such a gamer. She has no explanation. She claims she didn't do that to herself, although later on she does mention it was kind of self-inflicted. My thoughts on this? Maybe those baths were in extreme hot water. She sat down under the running water and got that burn. She also mentions how she is experiencing pain where he has his tattoos.
I've had nobody but Post Malone in my life for the past 2 years, and I don't want anybody else.
What a slap in the face for her family. Gayle also believes Post Malone can control her body through her cell phone. He can move her, open her legs, pull her from the bed, all that using his gamer energy. All of these things were mentioned to a psychiatrist. Gayle told her family the doctor said she was A-okay. But did the doctor said that?
Well, she tried to give me some medication, but I was needing
Well, they don't give you
answers.
medication for nothing.
I don't need a pill. My girls thinks I'm mental and crazy, and I'm not.
I mean, she's old. She still carries a lot of mental health stigma, so taking medication is a sign of, I don't know, weakness, maybe? That's unfortunate because she's not only hurting herself with that old-fashioned mentality, but she is destroying her family.
Up next, my humble opinion.
When someone does something extreme and later they were diagnosed with a mental illness, I get it. They were not themselves, they did things they would have never done before. But if they already knew they were mentally ill and were actively avoiding taking their medication,
Why? Why not? Why though?
they know they are unwell, but they don't care. In this case, Gayle was probably diagnosed with something, hence why the doctor prescribed her the medication, but she disregarded the advice because she knows better. I feel for her because she's clearly struggling and she's actually hurting herself, but if she doesn't care about her health, why should we? Her granddaughter even said,
If my grandmother ends up in jail because of this, she deserves it.
but if Gayle doesn't think she is in the wrong, why did she agree to be on the Dr. Phil show? Well, that's because Post Malone lives in LA, where they record the show. Probably Gayle saw an opportunity to have Dr. Phil bring him to her. I believe I mentioned this in the video about the lady thinking she's married to Tyler Perry and that the kid he had with his ex-partner was actually hers. Sometimes bringing the victim face to face with the person they thought they were talking to is a bad idea. It has happened where they do call the celebrity or person to set the record straight, but I believe it depends on the victim's level of delusion. In the case of Tyler Perry, someone thinking her eggs were magically removed and placed into another woman is extreme, hence why Tyler Perry was not in sight. This case is no different. One, I think it will create a stalker situation, and two, the scammer can well say that they had to lie in front of everyone because their career will suffer or some lame excuse. The victim will immediately believe that and continue with the romance and money draining. So yeah, Gayle was expecting to see Post Malone, but thankfully he didn't even want to respond. His agent was the one denying everything.
You believe that he can see and hear things that you do, that he moves your limbs and sends energy to your body, that he has drones and secret cameras in the house, and you believe that there's a chip in your body.
That was an eerie recap of what Gayle thinks Post Malone is doing to her. Her daughter knew about this chip thing, so she took her to get an x-ray and like you would have imagined, Gayle is clear. There's nothing implanted in her. She still feels something hard on her back, probably a bone, but she still believes there's a magical metal piece of technology tracking her every move.
When I was a little girl, my mom was obsessed with Rod Stewart, the same way as the Post Malone, except for back then we did not have internet.
And back then, she was obviously young, but this only means what she's experiencing today, she had it all along. Only now it's easier for her to stalk someone on the internet and get scammed as well. To make things faster, Dr. Phil told her Post Malone's phone number is an untraceable one, the documents she signed were fake, the jewelry is fake. She claims she knew this all along, but he's just a gamer. He's playing games, so nobody can get her to understand she's been scammed. So Dr. Phil convinced her to have a neurological exam. Unfortunately, I couldn't find what happened to her, so I'm gonna take that as a good thing, right? If there was no news, that's possibly because Gayle was soon medicated and got better. Let's hope that's the case. Now, I'm turning this to you. What do you think about this case? This is gonna turn dark for just a moment, but every time I see someone like, for example, Kanye West, knowing they are suffering from a mental illness but refusing to take the medication, my mind immediately remembers Timothy McLean. He was a victim of a man who knew he was schizophrenic but refused to take his medication, ending in a gruesome scene. This man chopped Tim's head inside a bus in Canada and ate some of his flesh. There were witnesses whose lives were forever changed. There was no justice, by the way. Canada set this man free, alleging he wanted to end Tim and only him. There's no way he would do it again. He's a free man. I know this is a mega stretch, but it proves a point. Gayle was informed she needed to be medicated, but she refused. She gave her information to strangers, her address. She already put her family in danger. Denying things won't make them go away. It just makes everything 10 times worse. This is a very complicated case. You tell me what you think about this. And I hope you will do this while subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you here. Also, please give a video a thumbs up. It really helps out. I hope you had a fantastic day or night, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.